Hi everyone, 3 p.m. Central European Time. So we start our first first meeting of a node project, how I call it. Today is a sort of big plan for 1 hour. So yeah, we are a little tight to time, but yeah, let me first introduce myself and then we're gonna continue. And by the way, I don't expect much people uh, coming for this meeting, so yeah, and probably I would know everyone. So yeah, don't hesitate. Just ask me whatever you think, or yeah, any comments I would appreciate. Also, any shares, any likes, whatever. Yeah, any contribution I would appreciate as well. Yeah, that's just introduction. Let me start the presentation and whatever I've planned so far. So decompose node project. This is a title of today's meeting, and yeah. First of all, can you hear and see me well? Just in case, maybe yeah, the sound is bad or whatever. I don't see anyone in the chat yet. Uh, Maybe I can try actually myself if I see. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I see it in YouTube that the sound is okay and also signal is fine in the panel settings. So let's move on from here. Let's say that was good. Then the agenda for today, and as I said, I really want to make it in 1 hour. Let's see how it happens in real life. So introduction. The agenda today is first introduction. I'm gonna introduce myself just for some random people who come for the channel, or maybe they will look at this first stream later on. So a short introduction by myself. Then for the sake of just I don't know, touching some code, I decided to repeat some part of a previous meeting material, which is CLI node. It will be really shortly. Some main points. I just wanna touch some code again, and maybe I will remember something interesting. Yeah, so CLI node, why CLI, why node, why JavaScript, some basic principles, things like that. Some practical example with practice with CLIs. Well, that would be just a really easy one with npm package.json and really easy help and version check. A few words about oclif framework, which I actually plan to work with in this project. And then the main part, I expect it to be at least, it's a node project. When I am gonna introduce it, just not really, I don't have much material yet. So that would be, you can think of it as a sprint planning, let's say like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go into details, of course, closer to this topic. So node project, what I how I think of this project, what I plan to do. Then way of working is like a manifest of how we're gonna interact with the contributors, with everyone. If we find other contributors than me, that would be great at least. And the next steps, that is what I'm calling the sprint planning. So yeah, so we need to plan some real tasks and do some commitment for the next sprint. That's what we gonna do in the last part of today's meeting. All right, let's move on. Goals first is yeah, I wanted to start with goals of this webinar and all other webinars that are going on this channel, by the way. First goal of this meeting is get to know each other. So if you can, hi Sergio, yeah, I expected you to come. That's at least you here. That's good. So first is get to know each other, and yeah, as I see it, maybe for later it would be useful for other participants to see this meeting, and yeah, just for the sake of introduction. Introduce JavaScript, plan goals and motivation. Yeah, we're gonna skip some parts of it. It's some project that is ongoing but still not ready, not that good quality ready, let's say. understand basic CLI concept like announced. I do some few examples and basic principles description. That's sort of it. And the last part, yeah, as an agenda as well, is decompose node project and plan a sprint. So goals for today. And start with introduce yourself, please. That would be really helpful. Who you are, what's your programming experience, and do you have some questions about Node? Yeah, I always appreciate answering some questions in Node that is interesting. So yeah, just a few comments, few sentences would be helpful, I think, for viewers. So yeah, don't hesitate, just do it. All right. Let's move on. Workshop goals. So yeah, this is how we call it, JavaScript Planet Workshop, or part of Planet workshops that we are doing this year. They are online, they are free, and so on. Yeah, we had already 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken, and this one is gonna be regular, but yeah, one at a time. So about myself, I'm Alex. Yeah, Sergio and we know each other because because of the other activities. So I'm a JavaScript developer with a sort of 10 years experience already. Here are my Twitter, Medium, GitHub, other channels you can contact me. And by the way, I am gonna share these resources later on in a Medium blog. So I'm gonna prepare some small post this week, the upcoming week, with all the goals, with all this material that you see. So all the links will stay the same. We will get the links, obviously. Yeah, I'm doing a few things at one time. I think I should stop. Yeah, what else about me? Yeah, I'm kind of passionate about JavaScript. Well, yeah, first I was passionate about front end. I think last 3 years I work less on the front end, more on the Node part of it, and actually I like Node even more than the front end part. Yeah, I think when you spend around 10 years with some technology, you might be a little experience something that is called fatigue, or you're a little bit tired of this technology. Yeah, I'm not sure is it a case for me or not, but yeah, I still fine with JavaScript. Like sometimes find some parts really exciting, so maybe that's indicating that yeah, I'm still in. That's good. So yeah, you can contact me with whatever address you know. I'm also Corsio at GitHub, so you might see one of some materials in there, and in Medium I also have a Corsio name, so you can find some articles in there. Yeah, I would appreciate with followers and whatever claps and views. All right, that's enough for me. A little bit about these workshops. So yeah, the original plan was to do one workshop in 2 weeks, which is a little hard. But I think with this project we will try to continue in that rhythm, but that would be a little different because, as I said, this project is planned to be like yeah, online open source project where we all commit for some sprints if we find, of course, some committers. And yeah, after we do the sprint, we have some planning, and yeah, that's how we basically gonna do these meetings, at least how I imagine that. So we come on a Sunday every 2 weeks, like I planned it for now, and yeah, we see what we plan to do for the next 2 sprints, and for the next sprint, sorry, for the next 2 weeks, and yeah. Then we see on the next sprint planning what was done, what was not done, and yeah, we see what changed in the project itself. Maybe some goals has changed, and so on. So yeah, sort of that. Also, why English? You might ask. I guess Sergio, for you, it might be a question. Well, yeah, I actually plan it to be not. Not Russian, let's say, because I want to promote it a little with my Medium, and this is in English and also in some other resources. I think yeah, if you trying to find a bigger community, it's better to go for English. But I believe my English is not hard because I'm not excellent in that, so you might understand me quite well. And let me know if it's not, if I can change something. That's also possible. So just contact me, and yeah, any comments I would appreciate. All right, let's move on. Yeah, so as I said, 3 or 4 webinars we already performed this year, and that was Advanced JavaScript Aspects of Node, CLI and Node, which is related to our today's topic, by the way. And today is next one, which is Decompose Node project. And this is a little different because the previous one was about technologies, and this is about more PM, like a project management thing, or at least we try to do it like that. And the plan is to make it at most 1 hour every second Sunday, 3 p.m. Central European Time, and yeah. So this material is already a little outdated. Yeah, and for whom is this project is dedicated? Yeah, for software developers who want to practice with the JavaScript language, well, it can be actually TypeScript if we decide so. So far, it's planned actually to be TypeScript, but it can change because yeah, we don't want to bind or connect too hard to any strict language or any other technology. So that might change. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, I believe that maybe I can help with some reviews and some project management things. So yeah, I'm just trying to start an open source project. That's what it is. And if you find yourself that you are looking for something you want to contribute in JavaScript, and you want to participate in some open source project, and yeah, try to get a review or discuss some design or architecture or libraries, frameworks, etc. Yeah, I think that's a project for you then, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So far, we don't know. So today is 30 of June 2019, summer, very hot. Well, not today, yesterday. Today we start with the Decompose Node project, as I announced, and yeah, a few slides already have been there. So I guess no questions so far. Yes, Sergio, I agree. Let's hope some people will join us later on. But for now, it's just for 2 of us. So first I start, as you may know, from documentation links, and yeah, I actually prepared some homework. I made this repository. You might have seen the gist. This is just a GitHub project where we can actually do commits and make pull requests and so on. So this is the first link for us to adjust. Now it's under my name, but we of course can change it later on some organization or whatever we decide when it's important. Yeah, my stories, as I already said, I am writing some blog on Medium, and I'm gonna publish notes from this meeting there as a post, as I said. CLI in Node. So this is a previous workshop. Like I said, we doing some of them. So that was about CLI in Node. Questions like yeah, we're gonna do a few questions of it today, but really short ones. So if you wanna dig a little more, I suggest you to watch this YouTube. Also was not crowded, but yeah, I see some views now, and that's good. Thank you very much, and thanks for likes as well. Yeah, this is of CLI in Node, and I think it's related to our topic today. So if you are interested, please have a look. Yeah, and two articles which I recommend traditionally when I'm talking about CLI is the Evolution of Heroku CLI, a nice article from 2017 about how Heroku CLI was evolving, how they switched from Ruby and then to Go, and then to Go with Node.js, and then they ended with Node.js and TypeScript with their own framework oclif. Really nice story. A few spots are not covered, I think, but are really good to start at least start thinking on why things are done like that. And the other one, also by the same author, Jeff Dickey, about 12-factor CLI apps. Well, basically the next step from a previous article. Yeah, they started making this oclif framework, and these main things they encountered, and they think these are best practices any CLI should follow. Yeah, some pretty obvious, some not that clear, but also a really good thing to start with. I definitely recommend this one for reading. And actually, this opens some I don't know, things about oclif framework itself. So if you want to dig into this one, start with the article as well. All right. First, as I said, I'm gonna do some introduction to CLI itself. So CLI is a command line interface, which means that the user will interact with this program via the terminal, and we are writing some commands to the terminal, and then the program will handle these commands and understand what needs to be done. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you know what is a shell and things like that. So CLI is basically a program that it can be run in a shell or in terminal, which is a visual representation of shell, if you say like that. Yeah, maybe you wanna answer these broad questions. Which CLI program do you like? Do you prefer? And do you use the most? And a few other questions that I like to ask is why JavaScript and why not for CLI, which I a little covered in the articles that I introduced earlier. So for me, I'm gonna just answer myself, and feel free to answer in a chat. That would be also very helpful. So for me, I don't know. If I start with the second question, which I use the most, is definitely one of the Git or npm, or yeah, of course there are some Linux system or Unix system tools like ls, ps, cd, and so on. Of course, those can be named as CLI programs as well, because they are CLI programs written in C and compiled into kernel of Linux. So yeah, one of those, and they're really amazing, and I enjoy them. Which I like, of course, all of them, and also npm and Git. Yeah, I think if I choose one, that would be Git. I really enjoy the technology itself and the CLI as well, which doesn't mean that Git doesn't have any cons. I can name a few just for example. I think the drawback of Git could be named as it's really huge. It can do so many things that sometimes user just doesn't know what would be the best way to do things with Git. Yeah, you can do a branch, you can do rebase, you can do pull. That's so cool. I really enjoy that you can actually define your strategy for using Git. But what is missing, I think, for a regular user is some kind of theme which you can apply for Git, and then you work in one style with the whole team. And there are some programs which introduce this for Git as well. So yeah, kind of that. And then why JavaScript and why not? Yeah, let's see. I have a slide for that. First of all, I said already, Git and npm are the top ones for me, and also you can remember other tools from JavaScript CLI tools like Gulp and Grunt, which like 5 years ago were super popular for writing and making scripts for your project to build, test, and automate some usage of this project, and then you can specify them in packages in the script. Now I think they are not used for new projects anymore, and I think it's good because we have maybe newer tools, maybe better ones, maybe not that good, but still, yeah, it's still evolving, and I think those practices were highly appreciated, and when starting a new CLIs for those kind of reasons, of course, they were built on top of them, so we know what was bad things, what were good things, so we can iterate. That's good. Yeah, so you might know a few of them. It's kind of Yeoman, Create React App, Angular CLI, Polymer CLI. Yeah, the list is really huge, because if you look at the NPM registry, the global NPM registry is over 1 million registered open projects now. So yeah, you can imagine CLIs would be, yeah, I don't know, like even less than 5%. That would be already 50,000 CLI projects. So that's huge. So why CLI? Well, basically, I prefer writing CLI because that helps some IT guys, developers or administrators or DevOps guys, or I don't know, all kind of IT professionals to improve their experience with working with some technologies and automate the regular tasks and make their life easier. And this sentence actually means a lot, which allow to gain even more. Yeah, that means actually when if you having all the tools that you can use in your shell terminal or in whatever, and if they are done in a proper way, so you can combine them even together, and then you can gain actually even more than you planned in the beginning, right? If you just have ls and then you can pipe it to grep, and then you can, I don't know, pipe it to somewhere else. Yeah, those kind of integration that really blows your mind. If you think, yeah, I could just make a CLI which integrates to all of these tools, and yeah, that would be really great. And beside that is fun. Yeah, so that is an educational project. That's why we started, and yeah, you can think of it as a fun, which not always like that, but let's hope it would be fun. Let's see, because we are not working on that. We are just experimenting with it, and I think that should be our goal. Make it fun. All right. So why not? Yeah, indeed, Sergio, like that. Best of DevOps usage. Yeah, why not? Well, first of all, like I said, it's an educational project, and we want to practice with JavaScript. So yeah, that's the first one. Then the other one, which is called Atwood's law, any application that can be written in JavaScript will be eventually written in JavaScript. Yeah, that's a joke. I always talk about it. It's the principle of least power, which the guy, if you don't know him, he's one of the big owners of Stack Overflow. He started Stack Overflow like 15 years ago, so he posts a lot, and this is one of the rule of least power, which basically means if your technology maybe it's not performant as C++ or assembler, but if it's easy enough, then you can do so many things in that that is really that it becomes more powerful even that these really high performant tools. Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. I just like to say it. Fast and easy to develop. Yeah, that's always with JavaScript. You can just start with some small script and evolve it to the really nice and big project. That's what we try to do with Node project. A rich infrastructure with all kinds of packages and libraries with NPM. Yeah, like I said, over 1 million projects in NPM, and many of them related to CLI, like Inquirer, like yeah, many others. I encourage you to look at my articles in which I did some overview of a tooling for CLIs. Yeah, might be useful. Modulus and plug and play. Yeah, I think JavaScript is quite friendly with writing code which can be highly overused and plug and play into the system. And actually, Heroku also mentions that in this evolution article, that yeah, they ended with the JavaScript because it's so easy to write plugins for it for some core project, and then they can be attached easily, and then you can manage it, and so on and so forth. Yeah, one drawback that I actually thought of, and I think named by many developers that are not writing in JavaScript, and I think it's totally clear and totally valid. So yeah, why you actually force your users to install Node first? Yeah, that's true, because yeah, nowadays there are many CLI projects that are using Go, for example. So you just compile the source, and you get one executable file, and you install it to your bin directory, and here it is. Here is just one CLI without Node modules, without Node itself. Yeah, just a clear one. I think it's totally valid, except I have some arguments why we want it for it to be Node. And first, I think I will go back for the rich infrastructure for NPM. For some business cases, which I think is the case for this project, which I didn't talk about it much yet, but it's about writing nodes with a CLI. So this is an idea of a project that I want to start with. So you have a CLI, and you want to save some nodes. You want to introduce a new node. You want to find a node. You want to add some description to existing, I don't know, list node, and so on. You want to manage them. So I just decided, yeah, let's do it as an educational one, because I really don't know if it's a good business idea or not. I don't know if users will use it or not. But I think from perspective of designing it and writing the code for JavaScript, I think it might be a really cool project, because you have to deal with Markdown, and yeah, by the way, yeah, I didn't mention it yet. So the node project, how you're gonna save these nodes? I planned actually to save it in Markdown syntax, and yeah, that's already too far. But still, if you make this kind of decision, then you need something to manipulate with Markdown, or otherwise you write it yourself. And I think this is where JavaScript is so cool, because yeah, Markdown as a JavaScript is also, yeah, as other markup languages, is open source, and it's standardized and really simple. So I thought that would be a really cool, not strategy, but yeah, I don't know, storage unit for all the nodes. And I know there are many projects that store your nodes in Markdown as well. So we can actually integrate the CLI to this, or our project to this and other nodes projects around. So we can export or import some nodes from there. That would be already great. So yeah, back to this question, why Node and NPM? I'm assured that there are so many useful NPM modules that can help you at first, because first we want to experiment with Markdown with nodes, like to dig into internals and so on. But you can start with some library which supports fully Markdown already, and then yeah, what are you gonna do? You can start your CLI project in in 1 hour, let's say. Well, 1 hour, of course, it's too optimistic, but yeah, that's why Node and NPM for me. Beside that, yeah, we want to play with JavaScript, and that's why Node, I think it's an obvious decision. However, we could decide to switch to a Dino at some point, but let's see. Not everything at the first time. I think we should make it step by step, and maybe do first POC or whatever, and then maybe we will go even further. Next few slides are again about this principles in CLI, and yeah, I would not ask you about them. Yeah, of course, Sergio, a good one, good note. Cross-platform application on JavaScript. Yeah, it's like Windows. Yeah, actually, this is environments part of this slide. Let me just quickly go into, because I want to actually go to the project now, and then maybe back to the practice, because let's limit us for 1 hour, as I said. So principles that are valid for CLI, and you can come with this 12 factor medium up article that I found, that I mentioned earlier. So first of all, a user should not be stuck with your program, and that's why you always need a help with an easy syntax for a help command, for version command, so user can see which version of a program he or she uses, and compare with the documentation that he or she sees in the screen, and then make some outcomes from it. Next few things are about login, messaging, and errors. So store your errors in a standard error output. Put your logs in the standard output, or even somewhere else, and don't pollute the user screen with all kinds of logs and the stack of your program if something fails. Yeah, so just a regular basics principles. And Unix philosophy, yeah, that's I think we should always start with this one when we're talking about CLI, because yeah, those tools that are compiled to kernel, which I also mentioned before, they they're following the same Unix principles, which do one thing and do it well. So maybe we should separate some commands for CLI and separate them and limit them to just doing one thing, and that might be a good principle to when we considering what we're gonna do. Keep it simple, of course. Modular and composable programs don't bind everything to each other, so don't make your code too bound to itself. And yeah, like Sergio, like you said, let's remember about cross-platform things. Let's make it work on Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. And yeah, it also can be packaged, so even Node.js can be packaged in one executable file, so you don't need make your users to install Node on their machine. But yeah, they will install Node with your executable package then. All right. So here I planned a few demos. Yeah, I'm gonna just go through these slides and not do a demo, because they are in the other YouTube video that I announced earlier. Yeah, so that could be our CLI. We create a new folder, we do npm init, and then we make console log hello CLI into index.js. And actually npm start will not work at that point, because it either should be a server.js instead of index.js, the default name of a JavaScript file for package JSON from npm, or we should change the main file, main property in the package JSON, so it points to index.js. Next step is quite important. When we do install -- global of a current package, it might, if it has this bin property defined, it might create a link in your user bin directory, or actually not user bin, but the part of node pass. Sorry, for the pass on Linux system environments is already including the global node modulus for npm. So when you define a bin property in your package JSON that points to some file, and then you do install globally, or link it even with npm command, that will create a link into this global node modulus folder, and then your command line, your shell, your terminal will understand that actually this is a command that is executable, and then it can just run it. Yeah, so that's easy like that. After that, it's already should run your command, which is actually, by the way, is exactly what is defined in the name property of your package JSON. So whatever you define here would be your command in a command line. I think that's cool. yeah, one more thing might be missing at this point is, and this is called shebang. So when shell interprets the command, it first tries to interpret with a bash by default, and if your file starts with this shebang, and this is yeah, first is a user bin env. This command actually, yeah, I think it returns the location of executable or something like that. So you can specify what interpreter to use for this file, and that's how we make our JavaScript valid for any console program. Yeah, that's kind of it. And I think I will end up this practice session with an introduction of oclif. So oclif is a framework by Heroku or Salesforce. It's written in TypeScript, and they encourage you to use TypeScript as well, but it can be also JavaScript. So this framework is intended for creating your CLIs from it, and they actually have a nice way of doing that. So you install oclif, and with this you can scaffold your new CLI project with the CLI of oclif itself. So yeah, CLI to generate CLI, nice concept, and works pretty well. Well, same as Create, React App, and so on. Of course, like other frameworks and CLI related libraries, it supports many features like auto documentation of your commands, parsing arguments. You don't have to care about it yourself. You don't have to check the syntax, like how many spaces and spaces between equal sign and so on. So that's that all comes from your yeah, comes with the oclif itself, and you can actually even define which format of arguments you want to support by this command. That could be a flag, you know, like a dash dash some flag or dash flag, and then you can specify an argument which is just a file, for example, or I don't know, some mode or whatever, and they give you a nice nice introduction to what they think should be a flag or argument in their opinion. Well, that's doubtable, but yeah, that a little described in my articles as well. Code generation, as I said, yeah, they provide you a nice ability to generate some CLI tooling, and they made different concepts of single or multiply commands. They generate a project folder for you. They provide testing frameworks when you can start tests, and some things with which you can extend all of your commands that you're building. Like you can do some extra layers for all of your commands, and that would mean that you can add some abstraction, or you can restrict, or you can provide some main features for the whole project with that. But be careful, hooks are actually with oclif, they are not always working in the way we think they should work. But yeah. So why I'm talking about oclif, the reason for that is actually I was planning to start the project with just starting with oclif itself, experiment with it a little, and then decide if we want to go on, if we want to continue with this technology, or we want to switch to something else. Well, yeah, in my everyday work, we have a project with oclif, so it's quite so that's why I decided that's good to start with, because I already know some concepts, and we can just begin, do a fast start, and then decide if this is good or not. So yeah, let's keep it like that. Yeah, so this was a technical part, and here we actually start with a project itself, which probably should be started a little earlier. So Node project, educational open source Nodes project practice with JavaScript, TypeScript, Node, oclif, Git, Web Components, project management. Actually, the list can be continued with all kinds of technologies we can think of. Yeah, as I said, I created this repository. I will send it to the chat as well. Might be interested. yeah, I will put all the notes that we discussed in here today, or any other meeting just in here. I will define the structure in the next slide. So what is it about? Like I said, I actually planned to this to be an educational project. So yeah, regardless of if this is a good business idea or it's not, um, we just want to practice with JavaScript. Yeah, just remember of that. A few examples, if you may. First of all, it's planned like a CLI. When a user installs some npm package, just npm install minus minus global node, and then he has a node installed in his shell, in his terminal. And next thing he can do with this command, he actually can manage or start managing his nodes. And yeah, that actually comes from my everyday experience, because nowadays I'm trying to write on all the valuable and all the important information I can see and hear from all the surroundings. Like if I communicate to someone and I hear something important that can help us in the future with communication or with decisions that we need to make in the future. So I'm trying to type it immediately, because otherwise I will just forget, or we will even forget that we committed to this idea and so on. So that comes from my experience, as I said, and I'm trying to note all of the things, and I actually trying to structure this information in some folder structure. I'll show you. Notes. Yeah. So now you should be able to see my editor, my yeah, just Visual Studio Code editor. So I have this notes huge project, which is saved in Git, and it's just Markdown, and yeah, all of the things that are important for me, I put in here. For example, the experiments are not so important, but actually some of them are, and one of them is actually, for example, I've been on this workshop of Kyle Simpson, which is incredible good, and yeah, I just put all of the things that I found useful from it. And for example, there was a really good example he gave for async generators. So I decided, yeah, there was a big conversation about it, and he asked the auditory how to solve it, and actually he was a little, just for a few seconds, a little stuck with the task, because yeah, that was new for him, and like auditory asked him how to do this thing, so he started to think of it, and the auditory was proposing some ideas. So I decided, oh yeah, I think it can be done easier, because the solution that we made on this workshop was not easy. And yeah, here is my solution. And yeah, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to document all these kind of things, because later on, for example, next week, I'm planning to actually write email to Kyle and say, hey Kyle, you know what, I wrote this example, how do you find it? Can you maybe help me with I don't know, with review, like what do you think of it, of this code, how I can improve it, and why it actually works in the way it works. So that's what I'm trying to write him next week, and let's see how it goes. So yeah, what I'm trying to say, I'm documenting everything, and I think if I have this node CLI, that would be in some way easier to me, because now I have a huge list of nodes, and they are structured in my on the fly idea how I need them to structure. But actually, I think, and this is gonna be, or it should be, one of the main topics for the future, is actually to create some of best practices for nodes, like, and I'm pretty sure there are, and actually that should be the next task for project manager of this project, like of this nodes project, like find a best practice, and we need to create a CLI which follows this best practice. So all the users, they store their nodes in one a big repository, which is safe for for failure, because it's all in Git and it's stored. It can be even stored in multiple remotes. So yeah, it's safe and it's secure. Yeah, kind of that. Yeah, one comment by Sergio. Yeah. It can be really multiple business purposes indeed, Sergio. Yeah, and yeah, actually now I'm trying to limit myself a little bit, because and now I'm starting thinking of these projects, like of this project. Well, yeah, we start with nodes, but actually it can be commutator. You know, like from any interface to any other interface. Like this is a CLI, and this CLI saves some nodes and allows you manage some nodes. And actually, the next step would be to write a web application or mobile application for it, and then we can actually make a concurrent for Evernote, for example, and that would be even better, because Evernote unfortunately doesn't support Markdown, so I had to switch from Evernote, because yeah, it was, some things were a little discouraging with Evernote. But the good thing about this project is it's really stable, and we can think of it as a start for our web design, for example. But yeah, one by one. And actually, when I started to talk about Evernote, that is why I mentioned technologies like web components in here in the presentation, because this would be definitely my next wish for this project. Like, yeah, we made some CLI. This can store our nodes, but we also want to see them in the browser. We want a user open it in his mobile device and see all the same nodes, and actually even easily edit it. And that's just Markdown, so you can just put any style on top of that, and then print it as a PDF. So yeah, that's a really huge story how I see it, and how I see it from even educational point of view. It's even better, because you can start with whatever part of it you like more. Like you can start with a Chrome extension, for example. Have you ever wanted to write a Chrome extension? Yeah, well, I can help you with writing one for this nodes thing. But yeah, let's not go there now. Yeah, first example would be, first I want to create. Let's say I want to create the ideas notebook, and I want to name it somehow. So this is just an idea how it should work, right? Because I don't still have a best practice for that. What I thought of it is like, yeah, if I write this kind of command, notebook ideas, and then the command for these ideas, that would actually create the ideas folder with a file readme inside, and title it as a store all ideas. Yeah, it could be something like that, for example. This is ideas, and then readme md file, and this is about, and this is a comment that you leave for the node. For the first notebook. Yeah, this is a structure a little bit. And then you can actually manipulate this document with a few subcommands. Like first, you actually provide an argument in which notebook you want to create a list, or you want to make a list. You want to create a new list, so you create a new list. You name it somehow. And that adds this new paragraph, and creates a new list in a nutshell. And of course, table of contents, that what you get for free, because if you manipulate Markdown, you can get all this table of contents, because you actually manage it in a programming way. So that shouldn't be that hard. These nodes can be written by some bot, of course. Yeah, indeed, Sergio. If I understand you correctly, like it can be even yeah, from Slack, for example. That could be also part of Chrome extension, for example. Or Slack extension, say it like that, which connects to your repository, and then in Slack you say, "Hey bot, note this idea for me, because that is connected to your notebook," for example. Something like that, but that's yeah. Then we come to a part we actually to go too broad in ideas, and never gonna end with some small projects. I don't want to stop with it. So let's hope we move iterationally and make it one by one. Yeah, that is at least my wish for that. But yeah. Let me know what you think of it. Yeah, that's an idea. That's an idea with some examples, and yeah, a few things that might be first for um, for what we want to implement. It actually just a few simple commands, which is add, edit, delete node and notebook, so separate things. List node with user interaction. Yeah, well, that could be there could be some interface in which you list all the existing nodes, for example, and you find them. There could also be an easy grep integration or something like that, but something like that, and print a node to PDF. Just an overview of future coming features that I thought might be useful. Yeah, that's pretty much it about what. Who? Yeah, we already discussed a little bit that would be maybe a little exciting JavaScript developers who want to dig in some new projects, start from the beginning, and yeah, try to make something bigger. And actually, open source is a really nice place to do it, because yeah, imagine we actually we're gonna write articles about it. We're gonna trying to promote it. We are really starting some project, and we are trying to make it good, trying to make it useful for other people. Let's see. I don't know if it comes something big or not, but yeah, we just doing our part. Let's say like that. So yeah, the intention is that this project is for JavaScript developers who want some practice with Node, with web components, with Chrome extensions, with all kind of tools and the technologies which they can practice with JavaScript, and they are interested in in parallel, like Chrome extensions, for example, or just extensions, because it's not only for Chrome, it's also for Chromium-based browsers, and I think all other extensions now are following the same format and manifest, so it should be easy, shareable. And also, Sergio is also, like you mentioned, is also a good part, not a good part, but it's also a part of environment support. You also have to support not the CLI for the Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, but if you write an extension, that should be an extension for this kind of browsers. Next thing, yeah, actually one of the last things I wanted to discuss today, maybe a little late already. It's a way of working. So where do we work? As I said, I'm planning to work in GitHub. So I created this repository, and I will at least commit in there, and I will make pull requests. I will do the same flow as I expect from other users, which is, I think it's called GitHub flow when you fork a repository, or Git flow. No, I think it's GitHub flow. When you fork a repository and then you make a pull request from your fork into the original fork, which is, for nowadays, it's Core node, but maybe we will migrate it to some organization when we think it's big enough and that's important. And then we're gonna define the rules how to contribute in there. Next thing is sprint. Yeah, like I call it, and that at least what I'm planning to do it myself, right? I am not counting anyone else yet, because no one is yet committed. Yeah, Sergio, thank you for coming, by the way. But it's of course up to developers to decide what is good for them, or what's better. So for me, for now, I think the sprint might be 2 weeks, because it's easier for me to plan some time like that. And yeah, talking about time commitment, I decided to first of all think of it as a points, not an hours. But at first, of course, it's close to hours, and I think I'm gonna start with let's say 8 points, but actually is more than 8 hours. So around 10 hours, maybe 10-12 hours for now. So let's say in the next 2 weeks, I will spend at least 10 hours on that, and that's my plan. And how I see my role so far, yeah, of course I need to define the scope of the next sprint of project for now, because yeah, obviously this is a new project. I don't know what should be done. No one knows what should be done. We just need to collaborate, discuss what's gonna be doing, what's we gonna do next, and then we need to define some strategy, where we're gonna go, and so on, one by one. So for now, I'm seeing myself as an organizer of these meetings, defining at least agreeing with other guys the scope of next sprints and facilitating the strategy for the project. Let's say like that. And of course, programming. So at first, I'm planning to participate in programming. Like I want to actually show not a good example, but you know, like a wish that I want to make it done. So I want to write some code for now, and then not this project just being stuck with and forgotten in 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, kind of that. Yeah, actually, repository structure is a little technical. So next thing, as I said, I want to after each each sprint, I want to write a little post about what was discussed, like this meeting, what was discussed. So it will be a Medium post with YouTube video, with these notes, with PDF file, with a few announcements, like yeah, we decided to do that, we decided to do that, and that was what we achieved on the previous sprint. So just a small summary of what we decided, what has been done. Yeah, just a regular work, let's say like that. Yeah, I just created a Slack, so I invite you to join. There was some link. I think the link is here. I will post it in the chat as well. Yeah, this is an invite link. I will post it in here. I didn't want to, first I wanted to actually to attach it to GitHub, but then I didn't find easy way to do that. So I think just Slack is enough. Yeah, and next is actually related to the repository structure, how I see it now. And this can be counted as demo as well. Yeah, I will show Visual Studio Code for that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's how it looks like. This this is a Node Node repository, and yeah, I thought we should start with some easy readable folder structure, and for me that. At first glance, that was a few folders like docs, and there I plan to store also this kind of meeting notes and so on. The other one would be so for that I'm just gonna create a readme.md file and docs, and that should all PM related files like meeting notes. What else? Organizational decisions, manifests, contribution guides, maybe documentation, obviously. Something like that. So this is for docs. Now then the other one, which for now I think I want to start with, is a CLI part, and this is the main project like I see it now, right? It's CLI in which I will call it actual node CLI, which implements main concepts of then I'm gonna copy some parts of yeah, this part, which implements main concepts, an application to create, edit and manage nodes, something like that. So CLI docs. The other folder structure or the other structure I thought of. Maybe that's for future, though. It's web and experiments. Well, experiments is easy, so you can also name it as a TMP. I have already a few CLIs well, generated. Like I have in article in the Medium articles, I actually put some examples of CLIs. So I think I will just copy experiments in here, and for now let me finish what I plan to finish. So experiments would be all temporary experiments with CLI and other technologies. Did I miss something? These notes can be written by some bot. No, I think this was the last one. And the last one, yeah, I will create it because I actually thought of it. So that would be a web. And I think for the web, I'm gonna delete, create a file, readme md. So for web part, that would be web interface, web application for showing, for the same, actually, for the same sense, for to manage a web application, to create manage nodes, and they should be integrated, not integrated, but what would be the correct word for that? Yeah, compliant with CLI nodes project, like something like that. Just CLI project. So yeah, this is a structure that I thought of starting of this project, and yeah, next steps. This is most important for now, and this was 1 hour, I know. But this is actually what we should start with. Okay. Thanks for joining the Slack, Sergio. Yeah. So next steps is to define the next sprint, which will end in 2 weeks. At least that's what I'm planning. So today is 30th of June, and the next Sunday. Odd Sunday would be 14th of July, and for that I wanted to use for planning the actual sprint. I wanted to start a project in here in this repository, which is kind of new for me, and I will just start with the easy one. I will call it Node because this is at first, all of the tasks, I think it would make sense to store them together. I mean, like PM, project management tasks, like CLI, web, whatever. So all the, for now, the single project is used for all types of work: PM, code, web, CLI, and so on. Project template. Yeah, I think we should start with a really simple one, basic Kanban. I read a little bit, but I don't know much. So this is yeah, this is how it looks like. It's really great. We have a board, and we have to do, in progress, and done. And as I said, I commit myself for 8 points. So what we're gonna do next, what I planned, is actually to define a scope for at least twice what I committed to, because yeah, that's how actually the allocation works, right? You first allocate some kind of memory, and then when you reach this memory, you allocate twice more. So yeah, if we allocate twice more, we at least we're not gonna be stuck for this first sprint, and so on. So the backlog should be at least twice as the points that we commit to do. That's my plan. All right. a few tasks that we can already start with, and this is a little PM work. Would say this is the first that I said, the announcement in, not an announcement but a summary in Medium, in a summary summary post or follow-up post, or you can name it in different ways. Let's go in here. Can I actually edit it? Edit node. Interesting how that actually works. Never touched it myself, but I think yeah. So I thought what would be the best way to do it. I really don't know. I mean, it could be a GitLab, it could be GitHub. I had some experience with GitLab, with internal organization GitLab. GitLab itself is really cool, but I thought, yeah, I want to try GitHub for that, because I never tried. They introduced new CLI. I want to try this one. I want to try other things. And besides that, GitHub is just an amazing tool for open source, well known by the community. So I decided I start with a GitHub anyways. Yeah, let's see how it goes. But in general, they shouldn't matter at all, because they're all the same. So summary post, and that should be a post in Medium, right? I want to Medium article with meeting notes, plans for the next sprint. Yeah, that's the first one. I think I will also include Twitter notes, Twitter message, with kind of the same, but that could be defined during the thing. What else? Summary post, edit note, and basically create a new YouTube. How you say it? Not a video, workshop, webinar, stream. I think stream for 14th of July. So that's gonna be end of next sprint, and starting the next sprint. Okay, yeah. So summary post. What else? Well, we can all actually start with a CLI itself, right? The code CLI. Node command. I think first of all there should be some work, ready work, right? Ready work story. Like I want to ready work story for make, define, create node command, something like that. What should be done? Define the scope of the story. Like yeah, what should be done is actually the scope of a story. It's really hard now because I maybe to generate tasks in the sprint. I should create sprint somehow. You mean it's in GitHub? In GitHub project itself, I can create a sprint. Oh, you mean the column should be a sprint? Not clear so far. I think I'm just copy. Okay, there could be also issues, but the project itself. So yeah, I haven't don't have much experience with working with GitHub project. So we also should decide how to use issues and how to use sprints for that. So for me, for now, what I thought, I'm just gonna create a backlog in here, and then we can decide how we're gonna do with it later. Yeah, I see it actually, it's already more than, than an hour, and I just started to thinking about features that we need to deliver for the next sprint. So yeah, first is define create node command. Okay, well, that's a good one. The same one could be for define edit node command, for example. What I want to what do I need to edit, and how it should be done, actually. And actually, we can start with first. Yeah, ready work is okay. That could be something like this example, like yeah, notebook ideas, node ideas list, etc. So define notebook. That also it's already too far. I mean, for now we don't know even the concepts of how this should be. And actually, I wanted to start the project management of this nodes project from the not the definition, but at least considering how these nodes can be structured. Like maybe it should be find some best practices, or find a book how to write, and find and read a book how to at first glance how to structure your nodes, and what structure they should follow, something like that. Yeah, I think I will create a story like that would be a PM story to define the strategy for storing nodes structure in Markdown. So that is actually the requirement. I want to use Markdown for now. So yeah, we want to define these nodes. We want to what else we want to? We want to describe node. What is node? What is notebook? Describe terms, business terms. Notebook. Create glossary, basically. Yeah, and that's already a huge story, I believe. I will add here also the find and read existing strategies to store nodes, maybe in Markdown as well. Yeah, that's actually the biggest one already. Maybe we should split it as well. But for now, yeah, we could also start with create node command, edit node command, and first ready work and then implement. Maybe then don't call it ready work, but rather than experiment, define and implement create node command with oclif framework. First we want to try it, right, and understand what would be how it's gonna work, and then it would be even easier for the future. So I said for create command, and I will define the same for node command. Let's do a small pause. Okay. Yeah, actually, Sergio, I'm pretty sure you had a good idea. It's just yeah, let's maybe think of it a little later. But also let's use Slack for that, for defining the way of working. So for now, I wanted to say, yeah, actually, I planned like 8 points to work on this sprint. Let's first try to put points on these 4 tasks that I created. Yeah, well, first of all, summary post, and that is actually also a PM post. So I don't know if you agree or not, Sergio. Uh, I'm gonna define it as one. So for me, it's 1 point. I think, yeah, it can be said 1 hour, but yeah, 1 point, 1 hour. We don't know in real hours how much it would be. So just 1 point. And I think we need to put it in some way, some kind of template for each sprint. So we define this summary post, and yeah, we put it to each sprint. That already takes 1 point of my of project PM time, let's say like that. Then experiment, define and create node command with oclif framework. Yeah, I know it's a little broad, but yeah, we're just starting. We don't know what exactly expect. So I would say this experiment means to try oclif framework, to see what it does, to try and create node command and think of the interface that might be useful for storing nodes at all. I mean, yeah, of course, we don't know the strategy for all the nodes and notebooks, but yeah, let's start with little. Let's say it's exploring the scope, and then we can actually define our next steps. How are you gonna vote for that? For me, that sounds. Sergio, let me know what you think. What is your score for this note, for this task? For me, it sounds like at least 3, because if you never touched oclif, yeah, that would be already a new technology, and then you have to generate, understand the concepts, generate the command, see what's out comes out from it. Yeah, and I also put it here. Maybe read your article, because actually I define some concepts in this article. I think they are related to this scope, so we can start with this if that's easy. So I would put 3 for that one, and this is kind of the same. So I would put 3 as well. Well, yeah, we can also say that that this is less, because we already seen. Oh, that should be edit. We already know some concepts if we start with the other one, but actually edit node is much harder, because you already need to manipulate parts of Markdown. Yeah, when you create a Markdown, it's easier. It's sort of easier. You have to just create some file if it doesn't exist yet. But for edit node, you already should do some proposals and suggestions how that might work. Like, yeah, I'm gonna use this and this. So maybe I would gonna put here think of and propose the Markdown library to manipulate nodes, something like that. And then it would, in my opinion, that would be also at least 3 points. So yeah, now when I think of it, it could be even more points, because yeah, you need to think of Markdown. You need to think how you're gonna find a node in a file, things like that. So look, find, and propose a Markdown library to manipulate nodes. Yeah, 3 nodes. Okay, what should be done? Define the scope, find, propose, Markdown, and of course the code should be code in repository. So some code should be implemented. Define and implement edit node, code in repository. Yeah, we're using the Fibonacci points like everyone does. So it might be actually 5 for me. 2 points for start. Yeah, Sergio, I also wanted to make it a little less, but you know, when I start thinking of it, yeah, how much time do I have? Yeah, I have like 8 hours. Will I be able to do this task properly? Like, I found the Markdown library, think of how I'm gonna find a note in the list, update it. I think like a draft that can be done in in 3 points, but I still have doubts, like if it's actually capable. I would rather put 3 for now, but I agree, yeah, that maybe for now it's really not, it's so many unknown around, so we just don't know how much time it will take. But let's see, if we commit for, if I or we commit for some points in a sprint, that doesn't mean if we don't close them that we are bad or something. No, we just trying to make it. Let's see how it works. Now the hardest part for now is the points for define strategy for storing nodes. Find and read existing strategies to share to store nodes in Markdown. Create glossary, describe business terms. Yeah, I think I'm gonna split it. I'm gonna split it in here. Yeah, I'm gonna remove this part. This is gonna be part 2. And actually, part 2 can be done in even before part 1. So now I think it would be easier to define. Yeah, it is very approximate. It's just for me, this find and read existing strategies to store nodes that might take lots of time. Like yeah, reading one article, it's like 7 to 10 minutes, right? If you find 10 articles, that's good. So 10 to 10 minutes, it's 100 minutes. So it's already two hours, or you can say like 2 points, for example. But if you think of it as a book, so that might take even 4 hours or something like that. So I think I would put 3 points for find and read existing strategies to store nodes. And the outcome also should be the list of articles and practices to consider. Articles, books, and practices to consider, something like that. And the other one is create glossary, describe business terms, notebook. Yeah, this sounds a little easier for me. Still needs to have some mental work. Like you need to think of what is the project again, describe some scenarios. I don't know, 1 or 2 for me sounds like that. I would put 1, I think, because some parts already exist, and yeah, we just want to define a little more scope, I think. Okay, so what do we have? 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, which is 4, 7, 10, 11 points. It's already good for start. It's like I planned 8, right? And this is 1.5 more. So I think if we define 1 or 2 more stories, that would be enough for the beginning. Any thoughts so far? Sergio, maybe you have an idea. All on 3? Not sure. Maybe yeah. I think it's a little. The translation is stream is a little out of time, so comments are coming a little late. So yeah, if you have some proposals for issues, for stories, that might help. Yeah, I think one story that it's a little PM as well. It's to organize the project structure a little. So first we need to actually put the Slack links in there. Put Slack link. way of working document also needs to be created. At least first contribution part, first contributing. First, it could be first version of it. It shouldn't be ideal at first, but just for us to understand. And the GitHub project, yeah, GitHub project organize project create sprints backlog. What I miss here though is check how issues can be organized into sprints, because working with issues, if this board was also including issues, that would be helpful, I think. Yeah, and so that for me sounds like a 2, I think. Okay, one more story. Okay, let's start with that. Yeah, I agree also that that is already a good scope for start, and that's indeed, I'm pretty sure we will not be able to finish that in 2 weeks. So let's see how it goes. And I think all of the working questions can be solved in Slack as well. I will at least save this in my fast open bookmarks notes. So now when I do this, which I do all the time, this will open the general Slack as well. So feel free to reach me there. Okay, so we define this this scope for the next sprint. That's good. They are mostly for project management, but a few of them are about experiment. Feel free to take 1 or 2, and we just can discuss all the things in Slack as well. All right, what's still in here? Twitter node follow-up. Follow-up, actually, I will add it here. Yeah, follow-up, it's a good one. So it's related to some repost, but it also includes follow-up from a previous session, because find how you say it, not actors, but find participants. Yeah, actually, the project management part, how I see it, should also include the you know, like promotion of the project. We need to find more people to make more things to be done, and so on and so on. And that includes writing articles, includes creating a project in all kind of open source list resources where you can, yeah, hey man, you can, if you want to learn JavaScript, please join this project, and so on. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I will create this story for now here. Yeah, I'm now coming more into PM of this project, but yeah, I just cannot stop now. I will finish with this note. I think find more resources to share the project with. Actually, Reddit is one of them. I think I'm gonna continue share this project in Reddit, because I already tried, but so far it didn't give much result. But yeah, let's find it. Let's try to make it better. To share the project with. Okay. I wanted. I had an idea to check the. I will call it Alex listen. Alex heard podcast. So there was one resource that I thought is related to what I'm trying to find in here. So there is some well, not AngelCom, but some lists of startups, or even just DraftWorks, or these open source projects that looking for contributors. Yeah, I think we need to find more of them. All right, I'm just end with this one, and I will finish with this summary post on Reddit. Post on Reddit. Yeah, also don't find it useful with Reddit so far, but yeah, let's finish like that. Okay, that was a follow-up. Next meeting in 2 weeks, 14th of July. Advertising on channels. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good name. That's a good name to share the project with, to advertise. Find more channels for advertising. Yeah, that's a bad name. All right. Yeah, next meeting, 14th of July. I have to do an announcement actually in this summary as well, and create a YouTube stream for 4th of July, and make an announcement. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, I have a form, but I'm not sure that it does much make sense, so feel free to ignore it. So I just copied one of my previous Google Forms. If you find some time to fill it in, it's just 3 questions with one more extended feedback. So if you find some really good things to feedback, that would be really helpful. Thanks. Then I'm come to summary. So we just started to discuss a project. We get to know each other. We discuss some CLI, basic CLI concepts. We overviewed why Node, why NPM, why JavaScript for developing a CLI. Kind of practice with CLI in Node, not really, but discussed a few parts like a package JSON, what it does, bin does, what npm link does, what npm install global does, what is a shell we didn't discuss, but it's a really big topic. And more important, we started the Node project as I see it. So I will dedicate some time for this project like I wanted to. At least, and you feel free to join us, and that would I would be really happy on that. Yeah, I just changed for two points because actually in my previous experience that is not that easy. That takes some time to make all things in a proper way. All right, then I think it's it. If you have any question, just yeah, reach me in whatever place you want to reach me. And thank you for your time, and see you somewhere around. And have a nice coding. Play football, write some JavaScript. See you. Bye.